businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal.
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. I know it's the holidays, but we're going to touch on some myths of businesses. So, co-host, how are you doing today?
I am good. Yes, this is the time I think, Gilbert, when we can go back and look back over this very quick year, this quick 2023 that looked like it was on felt like it was on fire because it was in a hurry to get up and get out. And so now it's time to kind of do some reflection, I guess.
Yeah.
To see, what were the successors, what were the challenges, what were the fails throughout this year, and maybe we might be able to put some text to that or some concepts to why that may have happened, just based upon our experiences with our clients this year. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. It's going to be kind of fun, and we're gonna discuss the actual book, and I don't know, many of you guys may have read it and may not have, and probably should, because I think this is a pretty good book. It's called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Pretty good book, and it kind of breaks down some things that we talk about in our practice with our clients all the time.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I think a lot of our entrepreneurs and our listeners, potential entrepreneurs, people who are trying to think about starting a business in 2024 will definitely benefit from the materials we're going to cover over here today in this ebook revisited. So I'm pretty excited. I can't wait. But before we do that, those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Um, we are a small business advice, coaching, and resource platform. We provide information for micro, small, and mid-sized businesses, even for nonprofits as well. So we provide this type of information so you guys can learn from some of our mistakes and other entrepreneurs' mistakes so you don't have to make those mistakes. We'd like you to we're broadcast on YouTube. We're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and many other platforms, but these are the three primary ones. We'd like you to go to YouTube and subscribe and also like the video today. So my co-host will tell you guys exactly how you should go to YouTube and subscribe to our program and like our program.
All righty. So you can go over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You can hit that subscribe button. And if you like the programming, hit that like button as well. We have over an archive of over 700 videos there. We've been on air for 7 years. So there is just a library of all aspects of doing business, being an entrepreneur, being a contractor. Both Gilbert and I, our expertise spanned over a 30 plus years with both of us, actually. So that would be 60 years. And so we're sharing that with you. You can also take a picture of the QR code right there and it'll take you there. So please go over and subscribe and like the content. It's really good content. If you actually hired us, it would cost you so much more. Right now, it's like free when you go over there.
It's free 99 right now.
Free 99. But if you actually employed us or hired us or contracted with us, it would not be free 99. Just saying, Gilbert.
See, we're working for you guys. We're advocate. We're small business advocates, and our job here is to make your lives easier. Whatever challenges we went through or our counterparts went through, we're trying to make sure you don't have to go through that. So that's why we're providing you this wealth of information so you guys can guide your business. Plus, It's the end of 2023. So we want to get you guys ready for 2024. So you then can start going after government contracts and growing your business, scaling your business, and start making millions instead of making, a few hundreds or a few thousands. Okay.
Right. Want you to be successful. So this is a good time. Everyone's going to probably you should be taking a little bit of a break, I guess. Christmas is in a week and a half or 2 weeks, actually. By the end of tomorrow, by Sunday, it'll be actually 2 weeks away. And so that's a good time to go back and reflect, look over, review, do some budgeting, do some forecasting for next year on how much money you would like to increase, what is the percentages you'd like to increase your profits, and maybe implement some new plans and services and products and things like that. So this is a good time to do that. But at the same time, I think everyone should be taking off some time just to refresh and regroup and rejuvenate everything about doing business, because it was busy for me. I don't know about you, Gilbert, but like I was on a race all year, and I'm not complaining. I am very thankful for all my clients. Um, but it's been a great year. But I want to. I got some big plans for next year.
Oh yes, oh yes, and that's how you've got to plan and run your business, guys. You've got to have plans, even if you don't have, even if you probably don't have the strength or time to do one-time planning. You can do quarterly planning, which is probably to me more favorable than just an annual planning, because quarterly you're planning for each quarter of the year, and you've got strategies and objectives that you want to achieve within the quarter. So you got to do some baby steps. So let's say you want to make 200,000 within the quarter, then you plan that out. You break down your quarter as to how many days in the week and how many weeks in that quarter that you really want to try to go after your goals and objective, and put your planning system in place. You create a milestone plan, and you want to look at what resources you're going to need, the timeline, and all of those types of things, and what type of cost it's going to take for you to achieve those objectives. And by doing it that way in bite size, then it will be easier for you to achieve your goal than to set one big goal. Okay, at the end of the year, in 12 months, we should be here. No, you got to start doing bite size, guys. That's what we're doing here for you today.
And it makes more sense, because that way you can better manage it if you actually doing it on a quarterly basis. So you plan out the full year, what you would hope you would want to achieve over that full year. Then you break it down by the quarters.
By quarters,
right? And that way, first quarter, this is what I want to do. Second quarter, you can go back and see if you achieved any of those milestones over that first quarter, and then if not, then you move it over into the second quarter. But at the same time, it's more manageable, right? And then by the time you get to the end of the year, you can go back and look and see if you achieved your quarterly goals, and overall, that should give you what that annual goal.
And the beauty about doing it quarterly is so you can make corrections. Because if you have a goal for your first quarter, you set it up so you want to achieve, say 60,000, 70,000 or 100,000 for the first quarter, then, and you didn't achieve that goal, you didn't hit that goal, then you can correct for the second quarter and say, okay, these may be some of the things that we missed. These may be some of the things we didn't do very well. And based on our measurements, this is what we need to do in order to correct. So for quarter two, instead of 100,000, we're going to try to, achieve maybe 150,000 to correct for what you missed in first quarter. So it's a good way to go about it, guys, to do your planning on a quarterly basis.
I personally, and I don't know, when I talk to my clients and I'm asking them, to give me an overview, they're like skipping and starting and like, well, kind of, okay. And then we go back and it didn't quite turn out the way they wanted. And so when I'm asking them why, they don't really have an answer for it because they don't know why it didn't happen. It just didn't happen, right? I don't know, man.
They
That's
go,
my
oh,
clients.
oops,
I don't know about
I
yours.
missed that deadline. Didn't work. Okay, we'll see you again next year.
Right,
No,
exactly.
we got to correct quickly and efficiently. So make sure if you miss a deadline, guys, it's just like driving on the freeway, right? You're going somewhere, you're supposed to exit at exit 17, but maybe you got distracted or something and you missed their exit. So if you miss exit 17, then obviously you're going to get off at exit 18 so you can circle back and see, you know, what you miss and what you need to do to get to where you need to go. So it's the same thing with your quarters, guys.
Or, oh hell, I just go home now. Meet that exit. I'm just gonna go home. Not circling back, man. I'm just hey, I wasn't meant to be there.
So that's how you got to do it in business, guys. You got to make sure that you have your plan. And like we call it, we say you have your milestone plan because
Mm-hmm.
with your milestone plan, when you're planning quarterly, your milestone plan will help you because first quarter, you know, there are 3 months in the quarter. So you're going to say, okay, for month one, we're going to do this. And in month one, you got 4 weeks. So month one, week number one, we're going to do this. Month one, week number two, we're going to do this. Month one, week number three, we're going to do. And that's how you got to do it so you can achieve those milestones along the way so you can get to where you and then while you're along the way, you know, these are when you're on your way to your goal and you're achieving little goals along the way, those are called attainment goals. You're attaining your goals as you go along. You have a commitment goal, which is you want to do X amount over the 4 quarters. That's your commitment goal. You're committing to that over the 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
But your attainment goals are the little goals that you're achieving as you go along to get to that, to the first quarter, the second quarter, and then to the fourth quarter. So that's what we're trying to do here. And the E-Myth book that we're going to revise for you guys today is going to touch on a lot of those areas and it's going to break things down for you. We're excited about it.
So we are, but before we get to there, Gilbert, how was your week this past week?
Oh man, my week was crazy busy. There's so many things I had to do and still have to do. I have my client from Texas that I've been trying to help them to stay in compliance, and it's just it is just a ride, man. You know, there are certain clients that they don't pay attention to what you tell them. You know, they just do whatever they want to do, and then compliance regulations will get the better of them and tell them, hey, you need to pay attention. So that's where they're at right now. There's some compliance regulations, kind of knocking at their doors and screaming at them.
So that's gonna fall into our conversation about the technician, huh?
Oh yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna. So we're gonna talk about that. Hey, Fernando. Fernando has combined Merry Holidays. Merry Holiday to you too, Fernando.
I love it, man. Good collaboration there, Fernando.
Yeah, he collaborated the two. My week was actually kind of quieter this week, and it's like it's coming down to the year end, and so I did have 3 classes this week, and one of them being with GLAC, and that was pretty awesome. I did my financial management and touched on accounting software which is the right one for the business, and so that was kind of fun. You guys it's a nice grouping of business owners over there.
Co-host, I think you're pretty modest. You never really touch on the bits and pieces of nuggets that you disseminate in certain workshops or presentations. I think you should kind of summarize what you went over in that class so people know the type of materials that you cover and you present to the customers, the clients. Because you did a great presentation. And again, folks, if you've never seen her present, she has this sense of confidence and just, like the matriarch in a community. She just sits there on that big high chair and she pretty much knows everything, and she just say, okay, team, this is what we're gonna do today. And you're gonna take this, you'll take that, you'll take that, we'll coordinate this way, and here's some information that is really key that you need to know about. She was just amazing with the delivery, man. I'm telling you guys.
Well,
So,
thank you, co-host. I appreciate that. It's
you know who I always think about when I see you present?
what's
Remember
that?
Maya Angelou? When Maya
Okay.
Angelou is speaking, she's got that sense of confidence and demure. She just well, let me tell you how this thing works.
Well, my area, my sweet spot is the accounting software. Hey, Mark, how are you? And Andrea, welcome.
Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Hey, Mark.
Mark, to his
Welcome
totally
to the
favorite
business
coaches
zone.
and mentors. Well, thank you, Mark. I don't know well, I do know because I've been doing this for a long time, but I think the financials or the financial management and structure of a business scares the bejesus out of business owners.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Even though for me, it's about the money part. It's about now I can look and see how well I've done in my presentation, in my service, providing the services that I offer. If you're selling product, you can see how well you've done. You can see the return on your investments. So all those things to me, I think is highly sexy, right?
Right.
But most business owners are like, oh, I hate those financials. Oh my God. Oh, I don't want to look at the books.
They get scared.
They're terrified when it comes to that space. So I've learned over the years that I have to make it appealing for them, and I have to make it less intimidating for them.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've learned to do it. And in my early days, when I first started my business, I knew when we got it was like, okay, I know I haven't done what I was supposed to do. And so they had a sense of embarrassment. They had all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
So I had to make it much more digestible. So and education is the way I feel for me and for my clients that have made it easier for them to embrace the structuring of their financial foundation of their business. And
there's one thing I like to put out there too, and I think I'm speaking for my co-hosts as well when I say this, folks. Remember this. As an entrepreneur, you don't have to know everything. You don't need to feel embarrassed because you don't know certain things. That's why you have a team. That's why you bring other people on to help augment the skills you don't have, the resources you don't have. You bring them on to help. So if it comes to your bookkeeping and you don't know how to do it, don't feel embarrassed about it. Just bring someone in who has the competence, the skill level, and experience who can help you with that. If you need a business coach or a consultant, you don't have to coach yourself. Sometimes you need objective views on what you're doing. So that's where you bring in a coach or a consultant to kind of guide you or expose you to some things. So never feel stupid in your business. Never, ever. If you don't know something, that's a good thing. That means now you can reach out to some external resources to help you guys. So,
and feel good about that. That's why we're, as coaches, that's why we're out here and our mentors, because we want you to be successful. Our goal is to be your cheerleading squad to make sure. So you do have to disclose, for me especially, you have to disclose, the structuring of your business. But the whole goal is to get you on the right track. So pretty much, I guess my presentation this past week was about that. What is financial management and why does it need to be done? Why you need to have an accounting system. what are some of the 7 reasons that you do. And primarily is to keep the IRS off your bottom, but also to make sure that you're doing business the proper way and that you're contract ready, not getting ready, but already ready.
I
And
think
so,
those 7 reasons, co-host, that you spoke about, those 7 reasons are really key. I love those 7 reasons that you talked about. And, the participants who were in attendance of that presentation, they really loved it too. They were taking notes like crazy. I love
that's
it.
good because most people think they're only doing this they're only doing their financials just for the benefit to file taxes at the end of the year. And that is like way on the bottom end of it, right? It's
Yeah.
really to be able to go back and see how well your business is doing, to monitor the process and the progresses, even when things don't work out, why it didn't work out. And numbers don't lie. So numbers
Mhm.
tell you exactly what you need to do. So you don't need to get intimidated by the numbers. What you need to do is take those numbers and say, okay, this is what I need to improve on. Wow, I did fantastic. Pat yourself on the back if you did do fantastic. And then now I just want to proceed I want to do better than I did before. So that's really that's really what I was touching on. And then of course, the accounting software makes all that so much easier.
That is so
so
true.
so I take the financial management and make it a sexy part of your business, man. It's where the money is coming in. It's to see if your business model is really working and if you need to
Yeah.
tweak it. But
Hmm.
as Nolan Rollins, who was the former president of the Urban League, he said, "Make no mistake, we're in business to make money.
That's right.
It's not a vanity project. It's a business to make money."
That is true, man. It's all about the money. It's all
All
about the
about the
money.
big that what was that show?
All
All
about
about
the
the
Benjamins.
Benjamins. All about the Benjamins, and you need to make sure the Benjamins are working accordingly to
Yes,
you.
yes, yes, yes.
So that's pretty much what my week. So now I'm kind of rounding down. I got some clients next week that we're gonna do some year-end closure. I
Hmm.
am sending out a survey and to help my business, my clients, celebrate some of their success stories,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much it for me. And then I'm going to work on my business this
So,
next 10
so
days.
not this coming Monday, but the following Monday after that will be Christmas.
Hmm.
And I guess most people will shut down for, from between Christmas and then New Year. And then after that, then we're starting bright and early, bright eyed and bushy tail for 2024. We're going to be looking at government contracts. We're going to be looking at different contracting opportunities, positioning ourselves to get lines of credit because every small business I know out there need a line of credit. Every small business, they need a line of credit. And I don't know one small business that doesn't need one right now. That's it. I don't need it. I got the money. No, you need a line of credit.
You
So when
need
you get
you.
your contracts or when you need to hire people, you can do that.
No, I got something today that I don't know. Well, obviously, I get to see what banks people are utilizing,
Hmm.
and I've talked about this in other workshops. That part of that financial management, right? You should would be with a bank that's going to be working with you
Yes.
to help you acquire loans and lines of credit and making sure they have the products that work with your business. So I got a notification today that and I've seen this bank run across my desk a couple of times in the last couple of months, but Navy Federal Credit Union. It
Navy.
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 Navy? Have you heard of them? Navy Federal Credit Union.
I've heard of them, but I never really checked them out.
Okay, so they primarily are a bank for people in the military and
Okay.
business owners that are in the military. And
Mhm.
unlike a lot of credit unions, they do allow you to have a business account with them.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah, they do. And that it usually works well with QuickBooks, and that's where I've seen it, right?
Hmm.
But something just came across the desk. Yeah, Navy Federal,
Hmm.
and it lends to military service members, veterans, and generally approves more and has been approving more than 75% of their white borrowers who have applied for conventional home purchase mortgages in 2022 have gotten their mortgages. But for minorities, they've denied over 50% of the black loan applicants.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what some of the? I mean, we kind of know what the reasons are, but did they ever
Well, it's
publicize what some of
actually
those reasons are?
so you guys can go check it out on CNN Business. This is where this article came from. As of yesterday, December 14th, and it said the nation's largest credit union rejects more than half its black conventional mortgage applicants. Um, Pretty much the same reason most of the other banks do it.
Right.
So
I would love to hear them say it, though. I want to hear them say it in the public why they reject those, because you know they're going to try to come with a politically correct reason. Well, their debt to asset ratio didn't really match up.
and that's exactly what they're saying.
They didn't have
They
any assets at
Right.
all.
The debt to income ratio, property value, down payment percentage, neighborhood characteristics were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But if they have though, which is interesting, the Virginia-based Naval Federal, which was originally founded in 1933 to serve Navy employees, is now open to all members of the armed forces, and it has over 13 million members and more than $165 billion in assets. So you're not going to tell me that because a lot of the military, especially lifers, they come out of the military and they go into government jobs. A lot of my friends that did 2 or 3 year stretches, lifetime stretches with either Army. I have one friend that did the Army, the Navy, and the National Guard, retired from all 3 of them, and he works at Boeing. So you're not going to tell me he don't have the income. I'm so sorry. You're just not going to tell me that.
Yeah.
And so, and they also approved the Latino borrowers at a significant lower rate. So all that to be said,
lower than African Americans or lower than
lower
whites?
than the white percentages. So
Okay.
but here's what I'm going to say. And this is also before we jump into our topic. Here's what I'm going to say. Ultimately, when you're managing the financial management of your business, is to make sure that you're running your business for business success, right? And one of those is to make sure you're bank loan ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for businesses that are doing procurement and supplier diversity contracts, you want to make sure you're contract ready. And in order to do for either one of those, you have to be able to have access to capital, right?
Right.
And so you want to make sure the bank that you are putting your money in is a bank that's going to lend to you. That's all I'm going to say to you.
Right. That they're vested in trying to lend money to you and your type of businesses. Now, I also want to put this out there, co-host. What you just read there is very status quo, very typical of lending institutions in this country when it comes to entrepreneurs and small businesses who are of the minority persuasion and women-owned persuasion as well. Now, we've been talking about this. We've been on this podcast for 7 years, going on to 8 years now. Come 2024 will be 8 years. So we know what the challenges are. And maybe some of our entrepreneurs are really not cutting it. Maybe they're not. And I'm sure some of them are not. That is why we are offering our platform that does loan readiness. It shows you what your ratios should be, guys. Your quick ratio, your current ratio, your working capital ratio, your debt to equity ratio, all of those types of ratios we go over with you. The system does it. We don't even have to do anything. The system that we use, guys, once you plug your information in, it tells you what your ratio is. Based on the information you put in from your balance sheet, it tells you what your ratio is. Now, if the ratio is too low, and we kind of know what the ratios are that the banks are looking at. So if the ratios are too low, then we know what to tell you to do to get your ratio up. So when you go in front of these lenders, they can't gaslight you and tell you, hey, you just didn't cut it because your debt to equity ratio was too low, your quick ratio was too low. No, we're not dealing with that. So we really can't blame some of these financial institutions for saying what they say, because our small businesses are not prepared. So what we're doing here on this Business Zone, guys, is to help entrepreneurs, micro businesses, and small businesses like yours become ready. So they can't give you that excuse anymore stating that you're not ready because you don't meet certain threshold or you don't meet certain guidelines. You meet those guidelines. So now you're going to go in there with confidence and say, hey, I know I meet these guidelines. Now give me my money.
True that. So yeah. So the more you know about your financials, that way you can actually fight for what you should be able to qualify for.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you're not, then that means that we need to put some efforts into it.
Yeah.
To make sure that you are now bank loan or line of credit ready. And even in this day and age, when we talk about grants, they're looking for that same thing because they want to make sure that you're using the money for the intended purpose, and that it's going to help you grow your business. So basically, that's why we need that to happen. Mainly because of that. So I just wanted to say that before we jumped into our topic. Now, let's show Small Biz Pro, because that can tell you whether or not your debt to ratio is in place, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
So we're going to share with you Gilbert's product that is help you make sure you're ready on all aspects of doing business and to maintain your financials, your compliance, all those things that we just been talking about. And that is the purpose of this. So I'm going to share that with you, and just let me upload my screen, and then we can jump into our topic. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Hold on, Gilbert, let me get this ready. There we go. Because this is how that people will say to you, Gilbert, so how am I supposed to find the debt to ratio? What the heck are you talking about?
See, that's part of the reason, guys, why you need to register in Small Biz Pro. Once you register, then you get access to all of those things I'm talking about. The debt to equity ratio is under your cash flow. There are 4 sections. When you go to Small Biz Pro, there are 4 sections.
Is your business?
So when you go to those 4 sections, you've got one called cash flow. That's a 4th one. You just click on that, and then you will see where it talks about ratios. You click on the tile that says ratios, and it will get you there.
Exactly. All right. So let's take a look at it, and then we're going to jump into our topic for today. Here we go.
That's right.
Do you have a tool that organizes your company's paperwork and takes care of all your record keeping? Does your current record-keeping system send you 90-day alerts to remind you that your key documents are about to expire and need to be renewed? Can you find contracts and procurement opportunities in seconds from any of the 50 United States so you can grow your business? Is your business organized so that you can tell which key documents are needed to efficiently run the business? How about woman-owned, small business, or disadvantaged business enterprise certifications? Do you have a checklist of all the key documents you need to become certified? Does your current system allow you to conduct market research from multiple sources and provide you industry and market data in seconds? Well, Small Biz Pro does all of that and more. Small Biz Pro is the #1 business management, compliance, procurement assistance, and market research assistance tool on the market today. Download the app now and you will be amazed. It's like having 3 additional employees working for you, but you don't have to pay them. What are you waiting for?
All right.
That's
So
right, guys. Make sure you go download it, and or you can just go to smallbizpro.net/join in order to try it out for 10 days. And then once you try it out, you like it, then just go ahead and just subscribe to it. I mean, it's very easy. You can choose whatever package works for you. But the platform, it's like having 3 employees working for you. Once you get it set up and you're ready to go, it's like you don't have to do a lot of things. The system does things for you. So all you do is just go and gather your reports, obtain your documents on the spot wherever you are. So if you're looking for lines of credit, guys, this system will give you an assessment to see where you are, what you need to have, and tell you what you need to do in order to get to that 100% marker. So lenders can no longer tell you no.
there we go. So we're providing you with tools and resources so that you are not turned down, and we're helping you turn your no's into yeses.
That's right. That's right.
All righty. So we're going to start our show today, or our topic for the show today. So let me jump in here, and so we're going to give you a little bit of background. Let me change out our holiday decoration here.
Man, I got to tell you guys this, man. My co-host, every time we do a show and we're doing a class in session like we're doing today, every time we have a class in session, I'm always anxious to see what our graphics are going to look like, what our presentation materials are going to look like. And she is like one of those little geniuses in the lab, putting these things together. And every time she does it, man, she impresses me, because I didn't even know what this was going to look like today. I just know it was going to look damn good. And look at this. Look at this. Amazing,
So,
guys.
we're going to discuss the book E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. You can find it on Amazon. Excellent book. I read it a number of years ago. So we're just going to do some of the top, going with one of the topics that it covers in the book, and it talks about the 3 personalities, business personalities of entrepreneurs and people that are going into business. And we're just going to kind of give you our take on it. But the first thing we're going to start with, and Gilbert absolutely loves this, there were 2 lines that were in the summary that Gilbert absolutely loved. And it was, within the first year of starting a business, at least 40% of these businesses fail. And then within the first 5 years, more than 80% of these businesses will die.
That is true.
And so you ask yourself, if you happen to be one of those individuals that your business did not make it in the first year, and then you decided to come back in the second year, and if you didn't make it to year 5 and you died, you probably have asked yourself, I don't understand, or questioned yourself, I don't understand why it didn't work.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. And that is why when you're in business, folks, as an entrepreneur, it's a learning experience. It's a life learning experience. It's an ongoing process, guys. Not because you've been in business for 5-10 years, you think you know it all and you don't need to learn anything, because in entrepreneurship, it's always a learning process. The more you learn and you incorporate that into your business, the more your business can thrive and scale. So that's what Crystal is saying right there, man. The first year, 40% of new startups go out of business because 1, they're not prepared. 2, they don't have the resources. They don't have the information. They don't have the data, the knowledge available to go after these things. And then the ones who make it past first year, just remember this. In your first year of business, nobody knows you. Nobody cares about you. Never heard of you before, don't care about you. Mm-mm. So it's your job to try to live past the first year and then make it to the second year. Now, in the second year, when you start going out there, networking with people, telling people about you, then maybe, some of them will remember you for, what you're presenting to them. And they'll go, oh, yeah, I remember coming across this business, last year. So let me, try to see what they're about. right? That's the second year. The third year, you tend to have more people remembering you, people you've called upon. They say, yeah, I remember you. You came to these events, and let me see what you have to say. Pitch me. Give me your elevator pitch, So
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened, guys. First year, nada. The second year, okay. Third year, then people start remembering you. So that's part of the reason why a lot of these businesses die within the first year.
And I also with my reference points, and my reference points are a lot of times when I am talking to a business that I've just acquired for coaching. You ask them this wonderful, magical question: do you have a business plan? And they go, sorta, kinda. I started with one. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I have one, but it's in my head.
Oh yeah, that one is up. Yeah, it's up here. Okay, so you really don't know how this is. You don't have a blueprint. Or as they say, you don't have a map that will take you from this point to, and that map will help get you to your destination. So in between that is you just go drive down some freeways. and so that's, for me, has been some of the feedback that I've received from mine is like, well, okay. So then we as business coaches, you have to have a starting point.
Yeah.
And so usually that's my starting point is, okay, is there a business plan? Especially after they give you the whole thing, why it didn't work. And I just realized I got to come to somebody. Somebody has to help me with this. And that's the first question you get. So,
and that's why folks, you got to know that your business plan is that map, right? Or that GPS, which will take you on your entrepreneurial journey. That freeway you're driving on going to Arizona from Cali, that's the entrepreneurial journey right there. And in order to get there, you got to use that GPS, which is a business plan. So that business plan will get you to where you need to go, guys.
It will get you to where you, exactly. And then a lot of times when, I always say, we become business owners or entrepreneurs. Business owners. I'm not even going to say an entrepreneur, because I think an entrepreneur and a business owner, me personally, they are two different people.
Yeah, that's true.
They are two different people.
Yeah.
But a business owner, I think, they and this is what we're going to talk about, the three business personalities. They are good at what they do, which is in this particular summary of the E-Myth is that they're technicians. You're good at what you do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you also are exceptional at running a business. I know, inventors fall into this line, right? So inventors, they come up with a phenomenal product, could be revolutionary, could be disruptive. It could be all of those things. And when I meet a client that is that person, I always ask them, do you want to run a business, or do you want to develop a product?
Good question,
right?
Good question.
They are two different things. Running a business means running every aspect up and directing that every aspect of that business, not just the invention of that product.
Right.
And so, so I always ask that question. And then a lot of times people come up, okay, I hate my job, my day job, my business, the job that's paying me, paying my mortgage and keeping me fed. I'm going to start my own business. So you quit the day job that's paying you a salary every 2 weeks, every 10 days, or every week. And you just jump right in there with both feet, arms, legs, everything. And you're like, I can't make this happen if I'm not all in.
Yeah.
How many of you fit that category? I'm just jumping in there with everything I got.
Yeah, that's a good point right there, co-host. That's a very good point.
So then now when we talk about that 80%, when we talk about that failure rate in the beginning, these are some of the reasons, because there is a whole different mentality of being an employee
Mm-hmm.
and being a entrepreneur or a business owner or even an employer. All
Yeah.
three of those are different entities,
Mm-hmm.
and you really truly have to understand that. So,
Yeah.
um, if you and then at that point you fall prey to the possibilities of failing in that first year because
Mm-hmm.
you really haven't planned it out. So today we're going to talk about that. um the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, and
Mm-hmm.
what that each one of those mean. And so I'm going to read you the second line that Gilbert absolutely loved, and then we're going to jump at it. We're going to go into it from there, Gilbert.
That's right.
So, ideally, so the personality is the entrepreneur, and that's a person who defines business and focuses on closing the gap or filling a niche or meeting an unmet need that doesn't exist today. And you want to be the person to fill that need, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. You're pretty visionary. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a business owner. Just
Right.
means that you've identified that there's a need and a want and a pain point that needs to be fulfilled, right?
That's right. That's right.
Then the other person is the manager. This is the supervisor who focuses on achieving goals through people and systems and focusing on the present and strategizing for the future. And then the third person is the technician. And this is the specialist who lives in the present and is focused on doing the work of making it, selling it, and delivering it. So ideally, you would want these personalities to be balanced. But however, the typical business owner is 10% entrepreneur, 20% manager, and 70% technician.
You know, it's amazing, co-host, because here in the E-Myth book, Revisited,
Mm-hmm.
they're really going over some key areas. And this is not just information, just on information talk. This is from research. These guys have researched this, and that's why they're able to come up with this. The manager part of it. Remember, guys, the three personalities, like co-host said, the three personalities is the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. With the manager, that person supervises and focuses on what results they are supposed to achieve, right? They focus on systems, they focus on strategies, and they also focus on the people within their organization, which is a resource, right? So, the question I would like to ask you guys who are watching this show right now or listening to it while you're driving, what type of systems do you use in order to build and guide your business when you're going after your goals? What type of systems do you use? And
Mm.
don't tell me Google Drive or something like that, because those are not systems, right? You gotta have systems in place, guys, in order to go after opportunities.
That
Now, let me throw this out real quickly. You remember we had the Malibu fires, co-host, recently. We have
mm-hmm.
fires all over the place. Some of those people who live in those areas, their businesses were destroyed, their homes were destroyed because of fire, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, how many of those people you think had what they call a business continuity plan? How many you think had one of those?
Oh, probably none, because that's
Zero.
like a foreign language, man.
Zero. Zero of them had a business continuity plan. That's a system, guys, that you build within your organization. You always want to be prepared for business continuity. Anything could come and wipe you out. There could be a tornado, an earthquake, some kind of storm, power outage, fire, whatever it is. Those things can destroy your operation. So you want to have systems in place to help you to continue operating even while these disasters exist. So that's where the manager part of you comes in. You know, remember the three personalities: the entrepreneur, the manager, the technician. Well, let's look at the manager part. That's what the manager part does. So you got to ask yourself as an entrepreneur, do I exhibit the manager qualities, the manager personalities? Do I exhibit that? And if you don't exhibit that, and if that's non-existent in your organization, then you need to bring someone in with that kind of personality.
And I think another example of that would have been the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Because that reshaped everybody, right? You had
Mm-hmm.
to really, first of all, you had to have a system in place that helped you pivot from, if you were brick and mortar, that
Mm-hmm.
immediately helped you pivot from brick and mortar to e-commerce or to virtual, right? So some of us did have a system in place. We had been practicing it all along. That
Right.
wasn't our primary way of doing business, but all of a sudden that became our primary way of business.
Right.
And then now that we're 4 years out, or yeah, 3 years or 4 years out past the post pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
now hopefully we're doing a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going, you know what? Both of these there's a place for both of these systems to work within my business and
Yeah.
actually help me to grow.
Right.
So that was something that there were 448,000 businesses that didn't make it because
Right.
they didn't have a system.
Right. Right. And see, the entrepreneurial piece, the entrepreneurial personality in this eMyth platform, what that does, it addresses how you deal with challenges in your organization. So my co-host mentioned the pandemic in 2020. When that came about, what did we do? Did we roll over and die, or did we pivot? And that's where the entrepreneurial part comes in, because the entrepreneurial part help you to refocus on closing the gap on all of those things that's hindering you, where the business is today and where it needs to be. you know
Right,
so
exactly.
these are just amazing tips here that we're disseminating to you guys.
And that technician, now if we use the pandemic example, so the technician knew how to do the work,
Yes.
but all of a sudden the foundation was erupted,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
now they're focused on the actual work, but now where
Hmm.
do I do that work? I know
Yeah.
I coached a number of clients during the time, and and especially in the food-based business, they had a rough time. Some of them, I mean, jumped to creating a smaller menu so that they could then operate and position themselves so that they could do serving outside, or completely go from a sit down restaurant to a takeout restaurant. Some
Hmm.
of them were able to do that. Some of
Yeah.
them were not. They could not figure out how to downsize their formal menus for sit down in a restaurant to
Hmm.
a smaller, more manageable menu to offer a takeout option for them. And
Right.
so a lot of those restaurants didn't make it,
Hmm.
or they tried. They had to just completely shut their doors, and then when they did come back, they had pretty much lost their clientele. Another scenario in that is, Gilbert, I had a client that I was speaking with recently, and their community, where their brick and mortar had been for years, all
Hmm.
of a sudden changed, gentrified,
Wow.
and the menu they're offering didn't fit the new neighborhood.
Right. No longer was valuable.
Right, exactly. So things can happen externally
Hmm.
that you have no control over, but
Yeah.
you do have control over how adaptable and flexible you are.
Right, right. And that is why business owners need to exhibit these three personalities. And if you don't have them within yourself or within your team, you got to reach outside of the organization and identify people with those personalities, bring them into your organizations, and have them, help to augment what you already have, so you can have that three-headed monster, that three-headed
Hmm.
personality.
Exactly. And so, and the reason you need to do this is because you want to be able, there are phases in business, right? So we have
Mm-hmm.
our startup, right? We're just launching, we're identifying what the products and services and what our business looks like and
Mm-hmm.
branding it and getting it out there to the public so that they can become, and then acquiring customers that will buy your product, right? Well,
Right.
after that, that next stage is a growth stage.
Yeah.
How do you move from startup stage to growth stage? And I know a
Right.
lot of your businesses are growth businesses.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so, how do you advise them or coach them on making that transition from the infancy stage, which is generally the technician's phase, because they're the barbecuer, they're the mechanic, they're good at what they do,
Mm-hmm.
but how do they take that business and grow that business to the next level, which would be called in this scenario the adolescent stage?
Right. Right. And see, that is where the business model ties into your business plan to say, okay, what is it that we're trying to do? What's our target? Who are we going after? What pain are we trying to solve in the marketplace? And based on that, you identify your target demographic and see if you want to make 200 grand per month out of this target demographic, then you got to put a plan in place. How are you going to go after that 200 grand? You know what the target is, you know what their needs are, you know what their pain points are. So, how do you go after them to bring them into this fold? So, that's how you got to plan. Now, we already spoke about, co host already told you guys that ideally the personalities, the three personalities in your business would be balanced. That means the entrepreneur should be 33%, the manager personality should be 33%, and the technician personality should be 33%. That should be balanced across the board. But we know that that's not how it is. What happened is you got 10% entrepreneur, you got 20% manager, and 70% technician. So you see, your personalities in your business is a little lopsided. So if you can get that balanced, where you can step up the entrepreneur piece, step up the manager piece, and step down the technician piece, then you can get that balance. So going after your target demographic, you first got to do those pieces, then go after the target, and do your pitch. And the pitch is to solve that pain in the marketplace. So if you're selling barbecue ribs, you want to identify those segments that really deals with barbecue ribs. Who are you going to sell? Put it this way, guys. You can't sell barbecue ribs to a Jewish marketplace. You can't. They don't do barbecue ribs.
No, that you have to know who that is and really understand your client, your customer, and every aspect of that customer. And once you do that, I think, and this is where a lot of our businesses, our small minority micro businesses, kind of have a struggle with being able to position themselves so that they can now hire, because you cannot run a business solo
Yeah.
and expect to grow your revenue. You
Mm-hmm.
just can't. You
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to duplicate your efforts. That's another system,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Being able to position yourself so now you can hire employees to
Right.
help you grow your business.
Right. And those tasks that you're going after, you got to know what tasks you need to have in order to address those pain points in the marketplace. That's really going to help you right there, you know. And the technical hiring help, those are the ones with the experience who can really help the business to get to where you're trying to go. So you got to find people with those technical skills. People, not only the people who can barbecue ribs, but the people who can go out and make that connection from the barbecue ribs to the person who like barbecue ribs. So where are those kinds of people you're going to find?
Mhm.
And maybe you don't just want to find one customer at a time. Maybe you want to find a group of customers. So how do you do that? Well, you find out, is there a catering party going on where they may want to have barbecue ribs at this catering party? So you got to find folks who are putting on events who may want to have barbecue ribs as part of their menu item, and then you cater that way. But whoever you're hiring to do the job in your organization must have that expertise, must understand that, so they can make that connection for you.
Exactly, because that's part of your growth process. And to get to year 4 or 5, where 80% of the businesses fail, if
Mm-hmm.
you have not managed to be able to make that transition from startup to the next level, which is the adolescent level,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have a hard time
Yeah.
getting past year 5,
Mm-hmm.
because it cannot stay at that level. And I always say this to my once we do the review of the financial, if you are not generating gross revenues of more than $60,000-$70,000 in this day and age in marketplace, you can work for someone and not have all of the drama that goes along with, and the headaches that go along with running a business.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
But it's going to be very difficult unless you're in a very specific type of industry. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's something manual,
Right. Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to, without having to work 7 days a week, 24 hours in a day, in
Mm-hmm.
order to generate revenue to
Right.
help you take your business to that next level.
Interesting. Interesting. So what's next on our list here, co-host?
So, of course, now you get into, let's say you did manage all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you may, and you probably have your clients that are here, because now your clients have to make a decision whether they want to stay transactional or
Mm-hmm.
they need to pursue contracts, right?
Right.
And so now when you get to this contractual place, now you probably have pushed you're probably at the very back end of your comfort level,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And that's where you talk about Gilbert systems coming in place, because
that's
this is
right.
not a place that you are comfortable with at
Mm-hmm.
all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your financial structure systems have to be in place.
Right. Your operational
Operations,
systems,
compliance have to be in
compliance
place.
systems, and those all working together is really what's going to make you ready. That's going to make you ready in the marketplace and help you to outperform your competitors. So it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Right, because when you're in the space of contractual business, you're usually competing with other people that are in the same industry, or
Yeah.
at least providing the same services you are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, can you kind of explain what does that look like to someone that is coming out of the adolescent stage or the growth stage or moving toward that? What does that look like for one of those individuals?
So first, coming out of the adolescent stage in your business, now you're going, well, I'm doing transactional business, one at a time business, and that's not generating enough money for me. So how can I make more money? So then that's when you start looking at government contracts. You start looking at government contracts with the city through the municipalities. You look at government contracts with a county in which you operate, or other surrounding counties. Then you look at the state in which you operate. And then you also could look at federal, because when you're at the adolescent stage, that's when you're, around about 3 years old, around there. So at 3 years old, it puts you in a position to go after a lot of different types of contract through different systems. So the first contract you may want to look at is local city and municipality. So if you're in Los Angeles, you got the city of Los Angeles. You could go out to the city of Inglewood, city of Alhambra, Pasadena, you name it. And once you set yourself up for that, then you first want to find out, what are the requirements? What should you have to be ready? How do you know if you're ready? That's where you take that assessment in our platform, Small Biz Pro, to see if you're contract ready. And that platform will really ask you a series of questions. Do you have certain documents? Do you have certifications? Are you certified? Are you currently certified to do business with the government or with public works agencies? And your answer may be no. Okay, well, these are the types of certifications that relates to your type of industry and these types of organizations. So that's the first thing you got to, because there's over 24 different certifications within the county of Los Angeles alone. Just the county of Los Angeles alone, 24 different types of certifications. So you can't do all of them. So you got to handpick which ones you want to go after. So let's say you pick 2 or 3 of them. Which 2 or 3 will be the most beneficial ones to you? And I would say if you go after the local cities, the county, and the state, those 3 certifications will really help you out. So once you set yourself up for that, then now you got to figure out, how do I apply for these certifications? Well, you go to the website of those agencies. They will send you an eligibility checklist, and the eligibility checklist will say, you either got to be minority or woman owned, small business owned, disadvantaged business owned, veteran owned, LGBTQ owned, something to that effect. So once you know that, then you find out, okay, from the checklist, these are the documents I need to have. Do I have these? Do I have these in my system? And if you don't have it in your system, then you want to try to obtain those. And once you get that, then that's when you apply for it. You obtain your certification, and then you go after getting the contract itself. Now, getting a contract, all you got to do is check out the website of the city, the county, or the state. You find something within your NAICS code, they call it commercially useful function. That means the NAICS code relate to the type of work that you can do and the type of work that the agency is looking for. So that now that's a match. Okay, good. Now let me go ahead and apply for this. So the opportunity may be out there in the form of a bid, or it might be an RFP, a request for a proposal. That means whoever is responding needs to write a proposal and submit it in response to the RFP. Or if you pitch yourself to an organization, a contract provider may say, okay, like what you're saying, send us your statement of qualifications. Now, the statement of qualifications is going to explain a lot of things about you and about your business for this contract provider that's want to hear about you. Sometimes they ask you for those things because they want to tell you to go away, but they don't know how to tell you to go away. So that's their sophisticated way of telling you, okay, go away. Give me your statement of qualification. But let's say you followed through and you did that statement of qualification. You send it back to them, and your statement of qualification impressed them, and they're going to go, oh my God, I didn't know this person was so qualified. Let me bring them in and see if they can talk to our director or, the director of procurement and contract opportunities. So now that you do that, then they start reviewing your stuff. They go, oh man, this person is super qualified. We could be looking for this person. Then they'll send you a copy of that RFP that they have. And then with RFP, you respond. Then you just start addressing key areas like, have you served this population before? Have you, how much have you provided to this population? What's your customer service plan like? What's your staffing plan like? What's your methodology of solving the problem we have? So there's so many different ways after the adolescent stage that you can approach this. And this is, to me, the key one that will take it next level.
Awesome. Now, here's what happens, guys. As your business grows and you are not ready for what Gilbert talks about, and you're unable to control your business or to grow your business, or when you go into a tailspin, that's usually when we get our calls because you don't know where you want to go. So
That's right.
generally, what happens is it leaves the owner with three possible choices. Return to the infancy stage, which means revert to a smaller, simpler entity when you did everything yourself and you continue to do everything yourself. But just know that at that point, you're limiting the growth of your business, and you really have to take a really serious step back and determine what is the long-term vision that you want
Right.
for your business, right?
Right.
Because know that your revenue is going to be stifled,
Yeah.
and pretty much you're probably going to work yourself into the grave, and you're just not going to be able to continue on the business. Second, and that brings us to the next one, is you go broke. Because the business has to be able to meet the customer's demand. You have to have the ability to produce more product as especially if you've done your marketing and branding well. So catastrophically, everything can come crumbling down on top of you because you just have not positioned yourself. And then third, you are the lucky one and you survive it, and you've developed your systems. You've gotten help from some helpful coaches like Gilbert and myself, or other business coaches that are out there.
Yeah.
And you now educate yourself, and you prepare yourself for growth, and you establish a business structure, as Gilbert was talking about, with processes and objectives and strategy, so that you can now move forward to that next level.
Right. Yeah, so this is really key, guys. That what you're just getting here, and we don't want to inundate you with all kinds of information, but this E-Myth book, man, it's really a good resource material for you guys to go over for your business, because it's going to help you guys to take a new objective look on your business to see, am I doing these things right, or am I going in the right direction? So
Yeah.
this is just amazing.
It is. And then ultimately, you get to that place where you survived the adolescence and you move into to the maturity of the business. You have systems in place. You have employees that help you multiply and your process here. Now you're looking at maybe scaling up to maybe increase your capacity. Maybe at this point you've matured and you're like, you know what, I'm doing really well, I'm gonna sell my business, right? But at that point, at that point, you've actually brought your the entrepreneur, and you brought the manager, and you brought the technician skills all together in a nice balance, and your business reflects that you have done that.
Right. And from the outside looking in, you can tell that something has been done. Something has been done to help improve the business.
Yeah, I've had clients that were referred to me, and as I'm going through the assessment process, I'm like, you're pretty much just there. You may need to tweak, maybe you don't quite understand how to read your financials and how those financials can help you grow even more so than you are. You might need a referral to someone that can actually provide you with that contract or introduce you to, or you might need to expand your network, but pretty much you there.
Right.
Or you may be at that stage where you need capital because you need the infusion of cash to take you to that, or capital to take you to that really next level that you want to get to. I've come across some businesses like that. And you're like, okay, well, I have, let me introduce you to so and so and so and so, but really you got it going on. You put the systems in place. You have objectives. You understand how your business functions. You understand how your business make money. And at that point, that's a good business. Every now and then, I don't know about you, but every now I run across one of those businesses. They're kind of rare, but every now and then on my level, they come. I get referred to someone like that.
And if I must say this, then at this point is where you're looking at all these different approaches to say, hey, I'm not if I can grow the business, I must grow the business. That's what you're going to say. I must grow the business. I must adopt these styles, these techniques, these approaches. And that's really how you're going to go into it. And the people that you're leading are going to believe into your mission, your vision, and want to follow you because you want people behind you. You're growing, and you just want to take it next step, next level. Now, with all of that being said, you want to make sure that compliance is top of message, top of mind. Compliance. You want to make sure that you are adhering to all the regulation, the local regulation. I see some people, they get certain things going and they're going, well, maybe this is sufficient. No, it's not. Follow the guidelines of the regulatory agencies. And then once you're in compliance with those, then you can see that you're on your way because no one is going to try to interrupt your business. No one is going to try to fine you. No one is going to try to tell you you're violating any rules and guidelines because you are following their lead, their objectives. So that's just one of the things you want to look at. Now, here on working on your business, chapter 9. Chapter 9 covers the working on your business part of it. And that part right there is going to give you some peace of mind to know that you're doing things the right way. When you work on your business, then you don't have to work in the business.
Right, exactly.
I see a lot of people work in the business and they're just trying to, make a certain amount of dollars so they can pay some bills and get to the next thing. No. Work on the business. So first of all, your foundation and your background, your back office is set up and it's ready to go. That's the first thing. The second thing is start looking at collaborating with other small businesses. That can help sometimes. That can help.
It really, really can because it can maximize your reach.
Yeah.
When we talk about working on your business and not in it, there's a great a paragraph here. It says your business is not your life. They're two entirely separate things.
Yes.
That was something that the other day when we were meeting, when Angela was saying, take time out for self-care, right?
Yes.
Don't just work yourself into the ground trying to, your business has become your whole purpose. So the purpose of your life is not to serve your business.
Right.
The primary purpose of your business is to serve your life, right?
Yes.
It should provide you with all that you need. And the difference, I think, Gilbert, between working as an employer or an entrepreneur or business owner and as an employee, that kind of puts it in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Because when you work as an employee, you set boundaries, right? Unless you work in a type of industry like law or something where they take away your boundaries, but and they want you to work 120 hours a week. But pretty much as a business owner, you want the business to serve your life. You want it to be able to create a wonderful life for you.
Right.
And the people that you employ.
Yeah.
So you look to implement some new strategies. And if you understand that, now you're working on that business, right? So some of the rules of working on your business is to provide consistent value to your customers, employers, suppliers, and lenders beyond their expectation. Value is what people perceive it to be and nothing more. So I have found, and I instruct or educate my coaches, or I coach my clients to understand that value is a perception. So you can charge anything you want if you provide the value.
Mm-hmm.
Compromise the value, and you're compromising your business.
And when you're pitching value to your customers or your clients, guys, you want them to feel like what you're presenting them is true value, that it has enhanced them, it has transformed them from wherever they are. And that's why I say this all the time. When you pitch your value proposition, you got to demonstrate to that customer or client what's in it for them. Why are they taking you on? Why are they taking on an additional cost to the business? Well, here's why. Because I'm helping you boost your value so your value could be bigger than my entity and your entity as well. But you want to get that organization feeling like bringing you on was a great added value to their organization. So whatever you bring, whether it's skill, whether it's knowledge, whether it's resources, save them time and money. Those things are good value to your customers.
Exactly. Number 2 was, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit. Your systems should be not so complicated that it's difficult for those systems to be carried out. There needs to be consistency. I think people perform better when you empower them. You allow them to make some decisions, right? You allow them to use, and I guess the word that's being bantered around today is intra entrepreneurship skills, which tech companies operate like that. Their employees actually have input to innovation, systems and things to make the company work better. Now they're more committed to working for the company.
That's right.
Yeah. So you don't want to, and you don't want to be the micromanager. You want your employees or your associates to feel that they add a value to your company, and they also are valued, and that you look at them. And we talked about this last week with our guest from last week. We talk about your employees being a human asset of your business, which means you need to treat them like an asset.
Yeah, got to treat them right. Got to pay them right.
Right, exactly. So
yeah,
that
I don't know if you're the one who mentioned this to me, saying New Orleans, Louisiana, the state of Louisiana, their minimum wage is $7 and a few cents. That is atrocious.
All across the South, it's like that. They operate from the federal. I think it's not $9. They operate from the federal minimum wage. I don't even know, which is some of the problems in this country. How do you live on, even in the South, how do you live on $9 an hour?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
When across the country rents are, minimum $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Fernando said that's disrespectful. Exactly, Fernando. I would feel disrespected every time I went into work. if at the end of the day I'm making $9 an hour.
Oh man, that's like 18 grand a year, man. That's way below the poverty level.
That's way below the poverty level, and it means that you have to work 4 or 5 jobs in order just to make ends meet. And so how committed am I going to be to your business if I got to go to 3 other jobs after I leave you? You're not, right? You don't have you're not valuing your human assets, which you can't grow your business if you're not if you don't have employees. You really can't. There's no way you can do it. So, so you want to make sure you design a system where you value the people that's going to help you grow your business, that you respect them. And in today's world, when we look around, last week when we were having this conversation about human resources, that's the biggest issue today,
Yeah.
right? The biggest issue.
Mhm.
This is this is big for you because your clients design a model that has impeccable order as structure provides relative fixed points of reference for most of our employee people and businesses and our customers. And without structure, your business will fall in chaos.
That's right.
I have worked for a lot of companies that had no structure, and it was chaotic every time you walked in the door.
That's what no structure is equivalent to chaos. No structure is equivalent to chaos, man. So
I mean, you walk in and none of the departments know what the other department is doing, nor do they care.
right.
Yesterday I was at Walgreens, and I'm standing in line, Gilbert, and I saw this guy walk into the store, and he came in before me. He had a basket. He went through the toy items and put some boxes in his cart. And I'm very observant when I go into public places because I never know what's going to happen. So I want to be able to know where my exits are, and I need to know what's happening around me, right? So I'm observing, taking in the whole store, and I see this guy. He's in line before me, two baskets up before me. There's two cashiers, older people, and all of a sudden, I see him take his stuff out the basket. I see him push the basket to the side, and I see him walk straight out the door.
Wow.
And I went, wow. Okay, and I'm looking around to see if anybody else saw. Where's the loss prevention manager? I'm not seeing any of that. And so then finally, one of the persons, when he finished waiting, one of the guys, I guess he was the manager, when he finished checking out this customer, he went out to the guy and he's looking around, but I don't see no police coming. I don't see none of that, right? And I'm like, what? This is surreal. What's happening here? So
What's happening?
What's happening here? So when I get up to the register, I say to the cashier, I say, and she's been there a long time. This is a store that I frequent frequently, actually. Yeah. And I asked her, I said, oh my God, people are just walking out. She goes, I just check out the people. I'm not concerned with what's happening in this store. And I'm thinking, okay, you do realize if they keep stealing that they're going to have to close the store down and you're not going to have a job. You do realize that, right?
Right. That's amazing, man. I tell you, there's so many of those types of things that go on. I thought you were going to tell me that the guy had set up his system so he was able to do a quick scan and process his stuff so he can leave without staying in line.
No, he walked outside with the boxes of stuff he stole. And I think I heard the manager saying something about, I think I heard him say, well, you have insurance or some craziness. And he's like, well, you need to get a job just like everybody. But nevertheless, there was nobody called. And the guy went over on the same fence, the fence, and he starts selling it to people walking down the street. I'm like, okay, this store ain't gonna be open much longer. So, because this is chaotic.
This is crazy, man. Crazy. That's why the business development process is going to be so crucial for small businesses, the entrepreneurs. You know, they need to have a process to lend itself to business development. You know, how do you bring people in?
Yeah, exactly. You have to. You just have to. The next couple rules is document all work. Gilbert and I both say this, always operate like somebody, an auditor is about to walk into the door. That could be anyone. From my standpoint, that's the IRS. And then if you were doing contract work, then obviously there may be someone that want to review your processes and your procedures, your operations. You should have an operation manual, and it should provide purpose, steps, and standards for every process and service that you're offering.
Yeah.
The how-to book.
Mhm.
How is the company run if you get sick tomorrow? Does the company shut down, or do you actually have systems in place and documentation so people can run your business out without you?
Well, yeah, the system that we have in place is the Small Biz Pro platform where, it's structured. It tells you how to structure the business. It tells you what documents you need to run the business, go after contracts, go after funding, so it's there. So even if you're a novice, you don't know what you're doing, this system will guide you through it. It will say, hey, here are the documents you need. The only thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have someone saying, "Hey, you're missing some steps here. What's going on?" You know, that's the only thing it doesn't have, and I'm working on that part soon.
Right, exactly. So you can so you can show validation, huh? Validation
Yes,
that you've actually done what you're
yes,
supposed to do. Next one is and this is big for me because this to me falls into customer service. Provide the same experience to your customers each and every time that they actually are customers of your business. It
yeah,
should be not inconsistent. Whatever you start out with should be the way you end. Everyone should walk away. It should be an experience, or as Gilbert, you like to say, when you are meeting someone, I'm gonna by the end of this, by the end of our by the time we done with each other, you're gonna be in love with me.
that's right. That's our goal, man. That's the value proposition we bring. Because if we say we're going to do something, we have to deliver on it. So
Right.
if we said we're going to make them fall in love, then we got to go above and beyond to make them fall in love.
To make them fall in love. That is a good customer experience. One that hopefully they'll go and be ambassadors, that they will be your fan club and they'll go tell everyone. Because I will tell you, it's so much easier on the marketing budget if you have fans versus having to pay for all of your marketing or your branding.
Oh yeah,
That's what I say. That's what I say.
yeah,
So, um, and then the last one is making sure you have a uniform brand, which is a
yeah.
color and address and facility code. People recognize who you are without even knowing who you are.
Right.
I shared with Gilbert the other day. I went to an event, and ironically, I mean, interesting enough, generally I know someone at everywhere I go. There's usually someone I know, right? My sister
Yeah.
always like, "Do you know everybody?" Um, but here I went to an event that I did not know anyone other than the person that invited us, and that was the one person. And I'm standing at the door, and this guy walks up to me, and he stands in front of me, and he says, "You're Crystal." And I'm like, "Okay, but I don't know who you are, but okay, yeah, I'm Crystal." He says, "Your community briefing, I watch it every week and it's awesome." He said, "You're doing such great work. Thank you so much." And I'm going, "Wow, okay." And then I went on to my table. So when I was leaving the event, he ran out. He saw me leaving, so he ran out to tell me that he wanted, my contact information,
Mhm.
and so I gave him my. I have a digital business card, so I
Yeah.
pulled out my digital business card, and he took a picture, and I was saying, he was telling me he had just started his business. I'm like, "Awesome, congratulations!" And how's it going? He says, "I'm doing pretty well." He's actually probably he's starting, but he's probably starting at the adolescent stage because he kind of is a
Mm.
technician, but he does have some business acumen going along with that. And so he says he's got all of his contracts and he got all his minority certifications and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I work for a number of other I contract or I have clients that are other organizations." He says, "Yeah, I know." I went, "Huh?" He says, "In addition to the community briefing, I watched the Business Zone, and I know you and Gilbert." And I went,
That's amazing.
"Okay." So I was like, "Okay, well, I guess." He says, "Yeah, I know who you work for. I know who you provide contracts for. I know Gilbert is like the guru in his space." I said, "Well, reach out to Gilbert." So he can help you with this next phase of your business. So all that being said is, Gilbert, our branding is working, whether we
Yeah.
know it or not. Is out there doing what it's supposed to do, and people know who we are.
Yeah, that's a great testimonial right there, co-host. The thing is, we impact the lives of so many entrepreneurs that we don't even know, and so that when we do see them, they're going, "Oh man, I've been listening to you for years, never met you, but been listening, and this is great." You know.
Right, exactly. So, yeah.
You want
So
you want
there
to
you
touch
go.
on the last piece there, finances, under
Yeah. So,
under chapter 12 there,
on a chapter
finances.
12, okay,
Yeah,
and so
the last bullet that
last
says
one.
finances.
Okay. So you truly want to make sure that you have, one, all the money that the business needs to run functionally and to grow and to scale. But
Mhm.
most importantly, you need to understand how much money your lifestyle needs
Yeah.
in order for you to be successful at what you do. I always tell my customers, my clients and customers, you don't need to be working at another job in order to support the business that you are working on. And that happens a lot.
That is
You
true.
you find that your business is not growing, is not providing the money you need to live your lifestyle that's
Hmm.
required by your lifestyle. So what do? You go get another job. You go get
Hmm.
a job, a job, in order to support your lifestyle, because your business is not supporting your
Not
lifestyle.
doing it. That's
That is not.
crazy.
That's Now you're back here at the infancy stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to make sure you understand how much it takes. Um, it takes to your lifestyle. What are your requirements for your lifestyle? And then you want to make sure the business that you're running is able to accommodate that lifestyle. And then you want to make sure that where you're going 5, 10, 20 years from now, and
Yeah.
ultimately, what is your retirement goals? What are your exit strategies? What are your succession plans? We've talked about that in a number of other class and sessions on the Business Zone. So go
Right.
back and check out those classes, and that's pretty much it. So go get the book, the E Myth Revisited, and check.
Hmm.
What are you? Are you a entrepreneur? Are you a manager? Or are you a technician? And do you need to learn how to combine them to become a successful business owner?
I think I'm all three. But when it comes to the percentages where they said it's supposed to be even, 33%, 33 and a third, 33 and a third, 33.
Uh huh.
I don't think that I don't think on one of them that 33%.
Which
And
one?
that's the one, the technician part of it,
Mm
because that's the one where you sell the dream, the vision, right? You,
hmm.
you
Mm
sell
hmm.
it to folks. So marketing is not my thing. I don't I don't like the market. That's not my thing at all. And I recognize that. You see what I'm saying? A lot of entrepreneurs don't recognize certain weaknesses in their organization. That's why I bring in Chacha. Chacha does my marketing for me. She's a guru at that. So I bring in people who can strengthen me in areas in which I'm weak.
Right.
So, and I know that. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah, that's not your. That's not your. Because you're more of you're more of a manager,
Yeah,
pragmatic type of person.
yeah,
So root
systems
systems.
manager, that type of thing.
Yeah, that works for you. You're an innovator.
Yeah,
In the entrepreneurial space.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Me, I guess, I developed the marketing skills because I think that's the main driver. And I
yeah,
don't know if Mark is still on listening, but the main driver of your revenue comes from marketing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so I focused on that very early on. How do you, when someone asks me how do I increase my revenue, my Yes. When how do you increase my revenue? You got to be able to drive people to be able to buy or purchase your products or your services. And the
That's
only
why
way
I need Mark, man. I need Mark to help me with that blueprint that he has, that blueprint to marketing.
right, you got to be able to. So for me, the to increase that bottom line is you have to be able to get the word out. People have to know you exist. You
Yeah,
have to be, as Mark said last week, that lead generation.
yeah,
You got to be able to put all those things in place
yeah.
in order to keep the people coming through the doors. So
Right. See,
and that's why.
those part that Mark does, those are the technical part. I don't do that part very well. Going out, meeting people, doing workshops, doing presentation, I can do that very well. I can kill that. When it comes to the marketing piece, man, like Mark and Chacha, those two, what they do, that's not what I do. So, and I'm the first to tell you, I say, that's not my strong suit.
That's not your strong suit.
So
Now,
I'll
my
bring them.
strong suit is not. I'm an indirect salesperson.
Yeah.
I could never. Somebody said you would do well at real estate. Yeah, the fun part of real estate. Yeah, but if I gotta, come at them to get them to close,
Yeah.
that ain't my thing. I'm not that. I'm not a direct sales person.
Right,
I'm
right.
more of an indirect salesperson. I do it through the value proposition.
And I see that. I think that's where Mark is strong because he's good at that closing the deal and all that. I'm
Yeah.
not into the closing the deal, man. I'll provide you the value proposition. I'll provide you the what's in it for you and all of that good stuff. And I'll present you all the facts and everything. If you still feel like this isn't for you, then hey, I'll move on to
Yeah,
the next deal.
that's how I am. It's like, okay, well then let's bye. But there's some people that can like, oh no, you are not walking out of here until you buy this car. No, I would never be a car salesperson because
Yes,
I would
couldn't
not
do
make any
that,
money.
I remember one time this organization, the car salespeople, they try to trick you into doing things.
Uh-huh.
I applied for a job one time. I didn't even know it was car sales, because
Uh-huh.
they didn't market it that way. They marketed like, hey, man, you can work for an organization and you can make so much money. So then when I checked it out and I showed up, it was a car sales deal, man. Like, oh, man, you're very good with people. You speak very well. I'm going, that's not for me, man. I don't want to convince people to buy cars. That's not what I do.
Right, exactly. So I would never do well in a complete sales type environment. That would
Yeah.
not work for me because it's like I said, it's more about the value proposition of why you should buy. But all that other, where you got to convince them.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't have that. So yeah, knowing and understanding your personality and your strong
Yeah.
suits and being able to capitalize on those is very, very important. And as Mark says, that's why we need each other because we can help
Exactly.
each other be able to accomplish your strength, my strength. Can if that's my weakness and that's your strength, then that's a perfect combination right there. That's
Right,
a perfect marriage.
and see what if you guys don't remember anything else that we talked about here today, the one thing I'd like you guys to walk away from here with are those 3 personalities, guys. As the business owner, you should you got 3 personalities, whether you know it or not. There are 3 personalities to you.
Mhm.
The entrepreneur piece, the manager piece, the technician piece. Now, the question you want to ask yourself is, which one of these 3 am I strong in? Which one I'm weak in? The ones
Mhm.
that you're weak in, then that's where you bring in people to help augment that for you.
Mhm.
Because, actuality, you're supposed to have 33% in each one of them. So
Mhm.
if you find yourself having like 70% in one of them, then you know that you're super strong in one and the other 2 you're weak. So you got to bring in people for those 2.
You have to bring in people for those 2. Well, guys, it's been absolutely fantastic. We want to thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you, our chatters over here, Mark and Fernando and and
and
Adrian and
Andrea.
Andrea. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Let's see. Next week, I think we are down for the count. So we will be back on the 5th.
Oh, next week is the eve of Christmas, huh?
It was the 22nd. Yeah. So we know you all are going to be out there busy with your families and so forth. You can go over to our YouTube channel, though, and you can see as many shows as you want. We will be running. There will be a show running. It just won't be live.
Yeah,
So
we'll do that.
We
for the
will
Christmas
repeat.
period.
We will replay 2 shows on the 22nd and the 29th. And then
Yes,
Gilbert and I will be back live and in person
in January. Brand new for
January 6th.
2024.
Right, 2024. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a Happy Kwanzaa for those of you that celebrate Kwanzaa.
That's right, guys.
We are looking forward to 2024 and all that it brings. Gilbert and I are going to be doing some masterminding and mind mapping over the holidays for some things that we have in play. For me, Gilbert, my goal for 2024 is I'm going to have a published book.
Oh, I'm going to be right there with you, co-host, because my book is on the way. It's almost done. So
yeah, that I'm going to have a published book. So that's my goal for 2024. So we are going to see you all next year.
I think next week's show is going to be on the Kwanzaa, the principles of Kwanzaa, because we've done a show like that before. Okay. So we'll repeat that show for you guys, so you'll understand the principles of Kwanzaa and how it relates to your business. And as you know, Kwanzaa is all about community, entrepreneurship, helping folks, just not one person working by themselves, but working together. So that's what that's about.
Okay, so yes, we will. That'll be the show we will rerun. We will rerun next week. Mark, thank you for all of the comments, and I guess you've been over in our archives taking a listen, and so thank you for the great comments that you've put on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel. So thank you so much. We so appreciate it, and we enjoyed you last week. So you guys have a fantastic holiday season, and we will see you in 2024.
All righty.
All right.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement.